You know, a lot of people go through life not knowing they have a hole in their heart.
You find the joys in the small things.
But when you're diagnosed with Down syndrome, they won't miss something like that. They check it at 22 weeks, at birth, 4 days later, and then 2 months later, and then you're all done. There's no holes, and your heart is perfectly fine.
We were in the hospital for less time for her heart surgery than we were when she was sick.
By the time she got super sick and was in the ICU for a month, we had already met our deductible, so that was free.
Woo! Bright side, right?
I'm not afraid of a spreadsheet. That's how I manage all the medical bills, to make sure we're not getting ripped off and things are getting paid appropriately.
You find the joys in the small things.
We both smoked before she got pregnant.
Well, we had every excuse to start smoking again.
Realizing that our life isn't... our life is still ours, and we deserve to have our life, but you have to remember that he's going to be dependent upon us for so much longer than other kids. So it was just like, we had to quit. We had to stop. So trying not to smoke and all that, and then the NICU, and I was just...
The noises. The beeping, the alarms. You've got a kid next to you who has this huge vascular blood tumor on her brain, and the bells are going off, and her heart rate is just like going crazy. And so every time his made a noise...
I was like, what's going on? What's wrong? Is he not breathing? Is he okay?
Oh, and the doctors, they tell you the worst case scenario for everything. I was scared to death.
He wasn't eating. He wasn't drinking. His muscle tone was so low. And anytime he did get something down his throat, he would aspirate. And so we had to decide, do we wait it out and hope that he'll actually eat something, or do we take him home with a feeding tube?
He had not made any progress at all, so we decided to go with the feeding tube.
Which allowed us to take him home.
The first year was a struggle because she was on oxygen. She had a pulse oximeter and it was very sensitive. She kicked her foot and the alarm would go off. 1 a.m., 3 a.m., 5 a.m., it didn't matter. I would wake up in the middle of the night to start her feed. And then when the feed was done, it would beep. And I would wake up and get up and go turn it off. I didn't sleep for that first year.
I had to become a nurse. I hate medical stuff. I hate blood.
I have to say I pretty much cried for the first year.
I would faint every time I had to try to get the feeding tube back in his nose. He had to come home from work a couple of times to put the feeding tube back in.
The chaos was so high, we didn't have time to freak out.